Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Chanel's Reality. I'm Chanel, I'm your host, and I'm a baby YouTuber, and I'm out here just trying to build, my Chanel community. So if you guys want to help me build my Chanel's Reality community, I would really appreciate it. So if you want to help me do that, the way you help me is you like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe. And then likes help as well. I'm very proud because now, let's see, I've been doing this for, I think, 32 days. And I have almost 12,000 views. Hold on, let's see. I don't know if it's, oh, Lordy. Oh, I don't want to do it on here. Okay. I guess we can look later. But the last time I checked, it was like 11,700 or something. So I'm going to assume it's at 12,000 now, because I'm a Leo. So we just assume for the best. Yeah. So today I just want to come on here and talk about some hot topics that have been going around, in the hemisphere out here in America. I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about Kelly Rowland, Beyonce's bestie. Kelly Rowland says, if you see this, please listen. Come on here to Chanel's Reality, like my video. I would love it if you subscribe. I'm just one person out here in this, sea of content creators trying to make a life for myself on the internet anyways. We're going to talk about Kelly Rowland, and we're going to talk about Wendy Williams, that documentary. I'm not going to talk about the documentary so much as I am going to speak about the things that happened as a result of that documentary coming out. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about Andy Cohen. Andy and Bravo. Jesus. All right. So I'll start with Kelly because I feel like she's the most famous of all of these people. I mean, she's Beyonce's bestie. So, we just got to put some respect on her name. Listen, and that's exactly what this situation is about. So I feel like about a week or so ago, Kelly was supposed to host or like be a co-host on the Today Show. And then I don't know if it was Page Six or TMZ who broke the news. They were basically like saying that Kelly just, she stormed out, or she wasn't getting her way with the dressing room or something. It wasn't up to her standards. And I'm just like, why they out here acting like Kelly just some random? Like, no, sis. Kelly is not some random celebrity. She's a Houstonian, okay? Just saying. I'm from Houston. She's from Houston. Beyonce's from Houston. I'm just saying, we all, country girls out here making a living for ourselves, And I just feel like, don't do that to her. Because even Kelly's response, in my opinion, was classy. Not everybody's going to respond like that. I think it takes a certain type of celebrity to have as much success as she did, with Destiny's Child and, being in movies and whatever else, to not become some bitter diva, just, how some of these people turn out. I'm gonna just say that. They don't all turn out great. And so I just feel like, let's celebrate her instead of trying to make it seem like her image is like she's being a diva or something. And even if she was being a diva, so what? I'm pretty sure if she was a man, this wouldn't have even been announced. At me if you about that life. They don't care. Men can come in there and ask for whatever, and it's all good. I also heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I did hear that J-Lo, shout out to J-Lo, was there as well. I'm like, J-Lo has a reputation of like having, I won't say having a fit, but J-Lo is like, I'm a queen, bitch. And listen, she's my sister, my Leo sister, so I get it. J-Lo's like, because listen, if you watch enough of my videos, you will know that I say time and time again, I am built for 5-star hotels and room services. So all this low-level stuff, no, I'm top tier. And I ain't even J-Lo. But I promise you, that's how I ride, It just is what it is. I'm always going to feel like I add something to whatever I'm in. Whatever I'm a part of, me being a part of it is adding something. Be clear. So I'm certain, Kelly Rowland, Beyonce, J-Lo, whomever, feels the same way. I'm just saying. I just don't understand how. It would be one thing if Kelly came there for like just a 10-minute, we're just promoting something. But no, she's a host. So I'm going to need y'all to get it together. So then what happened was that, I don't know how that made national news. It's just bizarre to me. Um, so after that got out, then now I feel like that happened on maybe like on a Thursday and a Friday, and then by the time they got like the next week, you have this lady Hoda who I think is like a primary host, and then I forget who the other person is that's host with her, but they basically, I don't know. I just felt like they were doing the most because it was just like, Hoda was like, well, and I'm paraphrasing, Kelly, we love you here. We have an affinity for you. You decide to come back. We really want you to come back. We will, you could share a dressing room with me. Girl, I'm Kelly Rowland. I'm not sharing a dressing room with anybody. Be clear. Maybe my man, maybe my children, but I'm not, and I get what Hoda was trying to do, but I'm just like, girl, y'all just need to apologize and hope it dies. Like, let it go, Elsa. I didn't really get that. I just like, I don't like them trying to portray, and I don't know Kelly from a can of paint. Let's be clear. I don't know her, but nothing about her that I've ever seen seems like she's an asshole. You know what I mean? I feel like she's an agreeable type of person. I just do. I feel like she's an agreeable person. I don't feel like she's one of those people that's just like, I'm going to be here and start. I just don't. I think her parents, Beyonce, and they're, her living with them and all of that. I think these people, they taught her and Beyonce how to behave and be polite. I just don't get diva from her. So I feel like if her team was like, yeah, we leaving, it must have been horrendous. Because when was the time you heard of Kelly Rowland being some diva? Y'all ever heard it? And I'm not saying that people can't cover shit up. I'm not. But when have we heard that? I haven't. So, if you guys have some things I can check out where y'all can show me that this lady deserves it, then at me. Let me know. But Page 6 did report on it. They were saying that supposedly the Today Show is now they supposedly are gonna like upgrade their dressing rooms and all this, that, and the third. And it's just like, I just feel like y'all are just adding on, just putting extra 20 on 10, and I just don't get it. I just feel like Kelly's beautiful. She's black. She's a talented celebrity. She should be treated as such. Am I wrong? Just saying. So then I want to just talk about, just for a moment. I didn't even watch the Wendy Williams documentary. I did hear a lot of people saying that, why does my computer want to keep doing this? I'm busy. I'm fresher than you. Anyway, a lot of people I've heard online, a lot of chatter where they felt like it was difficult to watch, is what I've been hearing. So, tired, y'all. It's been a long week and a long weekend. My thing is this. I have this, to me, there's just multiple problems with this scenario and this situation. From what I could get from the news out in these different outlets that are reporting on this, is it just seems to me, the word exploitation comes to mind. And I haven't even seen the documentary about her. But I just feel like, I don't know when her onset of whatever her conditions are. I don't know when that was, but it just seemed like it's bizarre, because I am in the mental health field, that she went so quickly from, I'm just, and I'm just basing it on what I saw on the TV. So it just seemed like she was a, queen of talk in terms of like gossip talk for what? I don't know how long her show was on, maybe 7 years or 10, I don't know. So correct me if I'm wrong, but so she was on, and she was doing her thing, and then it just seemed like they had those pictures of that, or the video of that, the Kelvin Hunter's, which was Wendy Williams Hunter husband, that this girl Serena or somebody, I can't remember exactly what her name is, but anyway, apparently, allegedly, this affair or whatever they had going on had been going on for a while. And people have said over the years that Wendy knew about it, but Wendy was just basically like, don't have a baby. That's what I heard. And so then one day there was a picture. It's so tragic. But there was a picture I saw of like the girl, and she's like, holding it up, and then like she's on the beach with Kelvin, Wendy's husband, and and then that video caught fire. And then after that, at some point, there was a picture or video of this woman. She either had just given birth or was about to give birth, but I feel like she had just given birth. That has to be tough. And the reason I say it, I mean, it would be tough just in general, I feel like, for most people to know that. And you're such a huge celebrity. And it's one thing to just be, a well known celebrity. It's another thing for you to be the celebrity that comes on TV every single day, 5 days a week, to pull all of everybody else's skeletons out of their closet and expose it to the world. It's just not who I am. So I would never be that person I couldn't do that. That's just not who I am. I don't mind talking about things that are going on, but some people talk about things as if they're fact. It's like journalism is dead. Like Portia Williams is a journalist. Portia Williams says she's a journalist. But anyways, you see what I'm saying? It's just like, no, sweetheart, you're just commenting on news. You're just commenting on things that are happening. That does not make you a journalist. Journalists typically have integrity, number one, and they typically are fact finders. They're not supposed to just report any old thing. And a lot of people, because they have a platform like Wendy Williams had, people love Wendy Williams. I'm not in that camp. I do feel bad for her, but I'm not in the camp of, I love Wendy Williams about as much as I love like a Giselle Bryant. Because I will never be able to really kind of understand or get down with people who is like, let me just wake up to like expose people. You know what I mean? Because then that was the irony of everything with her is you have sat on TV, because I didn't even know who Wendy Williams was for so many years. I remember when she finally got her show, there was this guy, Joe McHale. I used to watch him on, I think the E Network. I can't remember. But anyways, Joel Daly on his show drugged Wendy for like, it seemed like 2-3 months. And so I'm like, who the hell is this Wendy person that he's talking about? Because I didn't know the whole Wendy Houston thing. Again, she's just not that's not somebody I would technically, be like, oh, let me go watch. It wasn't. And so then, because I was just like, I don't know how Wendy survived, because he kept his foot on her neck. I was just like, damn. And then one day I was out to dinner with my sister-in-law, and I don't know how this came up of Wendy Williams, but she was like, I love her. And she's much younger than me. So I was just kind of like, well, maybe I should, I need to, go check it out since, she over here talking, she like it. So, so I went and checked it out. And Wendy's who I thought she was, just like I said, a pot stirrer. And, but there's room for everybody. Back then, I never really liked her. But I will say she was entertaining. So, like, I didn't like what she did for a living, but she was entertaining. And then this is the other thing, too. I'm not going to like something that I wouldn't want done to me. So, I think there's a difference between reporting on the news. So, something happened and you're just telling the people what happened, and going out of your way to find dirt, which I think that's probably, most people on the E Network and all those different shows, that talk about celebrity news every day. I think that's what they do. So anyways, let me just get back to the documentary. So as a result of the documentary, I think they said that it was like had the strongest ratings like across the board for that, because it was a two-part documentary. I think it was it on Lifetime? But it said 6.2 million total viewers across the linear and digital platforms to date. The network says, which network is this? I think it's, anyway, it says the network says, where is Wendy Williams? Oh, because that's the name of it. Life and Death Notification Performance in 2 years. Oh, it's been their highest rated since Janet Jackson did her documentary. I feel like I watched that too. I'm pretty sure I probably watched it. Same thing with like all social media. It was just like it was hitting on 20, but I think a lot of people really want to know what the hell's going on, because before this documentary was played, like leading up to it, that I feel like somebody in Wendy's camp, her, oh, what do you call it? Like her guardian or somebody a part of her guardian team was saying that they were trying to basically get this documentary. They were trying to stop it from coming out because I guess it was going to, in some way, hold some people accountable or flush some people out of the darkness that aren't maybe the best savory people. And that's the other thing that I say. It just seems like she went from being this big personality on TV, to I'm never gonna leave my husband in this lifetime. Then like I felt like maybe 2-3 days later, maybe a week, then it was just like no more ring on her finger. Kevin's gone off the set, like he's fired from the. It was interesting. And I was just kind because I didn't see that happening. The fact that she was so I'm never gonna leave my husband. I was like, I think she's serious, especially if you believe whatever the streets are saying about what's going on in her marriage. And I felt really bad, but it was everywhere. And that's why I say it's the irony, because Wendy's job was to come on TV and expose people. That's my opinion. That's why I feel like her job was. It was just like, let's go find the dirt, Norman. Let's have a talk about it. Let's make sure some of it is factual so that, you have some level of credibility. But to see her go from that, it almost seemed like it was just like a out of nowhere slide. Because I believe maybe a year before that or so, she had that, it was a Halloween, I think. She had on that, what is it called? The Statue of Liberty outfit. And she was just like, fell down, and it was just like, whoa. So I immediately thought, is this lady doing drugs? That's what I thought. One, because she's talked about it. I would have never guessed that, but she did talk about it. She was very upfront about it. And then two, I feel like a lot of, I won't say a lot. I do feel like there are celebrities that people protect. And, I shouldn't say this, but it is what it is. This is how I view it. When I hear about a celebrity needing to go to rehab not for regular rehab, not for I'm an alcoholic, I'm a drug addict, whatever, not for or substance abuse, not for that. The ones that are just like for exhaustion. So you got $38 million and you need to go to a hospital to get, girl. Child. But I get it. You have these fixers, people like Olivia Pope, or, you have your team of people who are, I call them like gatekeepers. They're there to keep the gates, to make sure to keep all the people out, the prying eyes, the media, the, fake friends and, whoever. And so in my mind, I thought either A, has maybe slipped up with the drug thing, or sometimes, people need medicine to wake up in the morning, medicine to go to sleep at night. And I just felt like maybe something was going on there. And I don't know, my timeline might be off a little bit, but then I think shortly after that, there was this thing about Wendy. Oh, she came on TV. I feel like she was doing that because, she would do the Ask Wendy thing. And she stated that, and this is all in part, and everything on my channel, Chanel's channel, is alleged, okay? Or it's in my opinion based on information that I've seen, okay? I'm not going to ever come on here and say I know 100%. I'm not doing that without proof. And I don't care enough to make sure I have the proof, unless it is something very serious. But then she went, it seemed like it was one of those things where it was going to be Ask Wendy's, because she was standing in the audience and she just basically said, I've been living in a sober house. I still do not understand why that was reported. I'm like, was somebody going to expose her? Because that's the only reason I could think of as to why you, Wendy Williams, the teller of all secrets, is telling your own secret. Why would she do that exactly? So that threw me completely off. And then, like I said, it just seemed like after she got that divorce, which I thought, I was rooting for her. And I was like, I really did. I thought they were maybe going to make up, because this world believes, and they teach us, they condition us to think that no matter what, try to stay in your marriage. No matter what, try to stay. And I'm like, I'm not saying anything that I feel is toxic. Why am I wasting away all my juicy years with so crazy? No, I'm not doing that. She's not doing that. She's top tier. I'm just saying. But I do feel like Wendy came from the old school of like, you know, you try to make it work. I also think that she probably felt like we have so much invested. We're living together, we have a kid together, like all this stuff. Like, people stay for a million reasons. It doesn't even have to be any of those things. Like I said, it could just be, you know, people don't want to be embarrassed or they feel like they're going to be ridiculed, especially, like I said, you sit on TV and you talk about everybody else. So then it's like these tables are turning, and that's why I say it's like the irony of it all. It's like now they're watching your downfall because you've sat there for years and watched other people's and talked about it. And I'm not saying she doesn't have a right to, because there's plenty of people that go out and do exactly what Wendy has done. But I just think it's so unfortunate. I do. And I think it's so unfortunate because I just didn't see it coming. Like, I'm just like, dang, it just seemed like down the drain she went. And I do think, even though there were lots of people like me who I'm just like, whatever, who really, even though we were like, who cares, in a sense, because of all the stuff she's told about other people or exposed them, I just was kind of like, okay, but I still felt bad for her. I still felt like, you know, maybe this guy has had his, you know, foot on her neck, or he has too much information on her that she's just kind of like, if I leave, he might expose me. So, you know, like I said, you never know why people leave. But I feel like he had such a tight hold just based on things like people like Charlemagne the God or whatever, who I can't stand him anyway. But he kept making it seem like, you know, he kept saying, in part, he would say stuff like, Wendy Williams needs to get away from Kelvin Williams before Wendy don't wake up or something. I was like, whoa. It's a muddy pool you're stepping in, Mr. God. So, but I feel bad. I think I knew something was wrong when they were like, she had a, what do you call it? A guardian. Because I used to work, I'm a social worker, like I said. And the last group of people that I worked with outside of, like, you know, patients in the hospital and stuff like that, were people who had IDD, or maybe on the spectrum, like autism, things like that. But people that aren't able to, so IDD is like intellectual development disorders. So they need a person. They need someone else to help them with certain things. And there are different levels of it. You know, they have people who are total care, which means they can't do anything for themselves. They can't bathe. They can't feed themselves. They probably have a G-tube, on and on and on. They probably have other health problems like blindness or, like I said, autism. It's just a whole bunch of things. But, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, so, you know, like with Wendy, I was just kind of like, how did it go so quickly, so swiftly? I'm like, it just seemed like I've just never seen an onset. And I'm not saying I know when it onset, but I'm just saying from the time that it seemed like that whole situation got exposed to where we are now, it just seems like this. So when I heard the guardianship part of it, I'm like, I've definitely worked with guardians, right? Because in my older job from a few years ago, it was, you know, part of my job was to protect these people. They're on my caseload. I have to make sure that I have staff in the house, make sure that, you know, medical records are doing right, make sure they have the right people visiting them, making sure people are, you know, doing their job, taking care of the people. I always call them like forgotten angels, you know, because they can't really say much. A lot of them. Some of them can talk. I did have homes where some of them could, but I know that just because someone has the guardianship doesn't mean that they're a good person. Think about Munchausen syndrome. I don't know if anyone knows what that means, but it's basically, it's like but now it's called fictitious disorder or something like that. But Munchausen syndrome is basically like people doing something to their children, so that their children, like feigning illness and things like that, and the child might not even know. You know, there's cases out there of like things like that. I think even Eminem said that in that song, I'm Sorry Mama, I Never Meant to Hurt You. Because he said, can you imagine your mom popping prescription pills in the kitchen and then making you, they showed it looked like she was like putting like a Pine Sol or something, some sort of disinfectant in his cereal. He was all sick. He was always sick. And he said, when you were growing up, making me thinking you're sick when I wasn't. That's a part of Munchausen. And then they have, I think, Munchausen by proxy, where it's like maybe the parent wants gets or does things to make herself sick as well. I forget exactly what it is, but it's both in that same vein of either a parent is making a child seem sick, so they go doctor shopping and all of that. And, it's just terrible. It's a terrible thing, but it's a mental disorder. Um, and I also know, because I've worked with people who I'm like, lady, your son cannot swallow. Why are you trying to tell my staff and me that we need to feed him chili dogs? What are you talking about? We're not gonna feed him chili dogs, lady. My son could eat that. He can't eat. He can't anymore. That's the thing about illness. Sometimes it gets progressively worse. But so that's why I say not all people who have guardianship are good. And you've heard about like the Britney Spears and all that, like free Britney. And there's for the good guardians of the world, I'm gonna say it like that. There are definitely good people out there, but there's just not always good people like that. But I knew something was wrong when they were saying she had a guardian. And then when the Wells Fargo thing started rolling, and I'm like, so the bank people are saying that it sounded like to me they don't want to give Wendy her access, but basically they were saying because the bank had to have seen something was wrong. So it had to be a few things. Either A, they're noticing a large amount of money coming out of that account, whatever accounts they have with her, and that's not like her trend, right? So like my bank will. So they'll let me shop at the Saks. They'll let me shop at the Saks or, my credit card or whatever, because my spending trends are very different than my husband's, like completely different. So I remember one time I went somewhere. I don't know. I think he went somewhere. Maybe he went somewhere to get me something expensive. I feel like that's what happened. And then they let him buy whatever the expensive thing was. This is why this is trippy to me. So y'all let him buy the expensive at the Saks. Y'all let that go through. But then when he got to the Chick-fil-A, like on his way home, he called me like, babe, how much money did you spend when you went? Da, 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 da? I'm like, I didn't spend no money like that where we wouldn't have any money at all. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. But he's like getting, what is it called? Declined at the Chick-fil-A. So we can't afford Chick-fil-A. That was happening. No, and so then I called Chick-fil-A. No, I called the bank. And they were just basically like, because of, I guess, whatever his spending was at the Neiman's or wherever he went to go get something, they just felt like it was just it wasn't something that was typical of him using his card. Like on my card, same card, they know. Miss Gladden around here doing some shit. So I think with Wendy and the Wells Fargo thing, that's probably what would happen. It was probably a lot of abnormal spending. So, like, listen, I did not have Wendy Williams money, but even when we go out of town, like when we go to a different country, I'm like, because you don't want to get there and then you can't use your card. But because they will certainly block things. I remember one time we went to St. Lucia and I was like, what about these Martha Stewart? What did I buy? By the way, that Martha Stewart, whatever I bought, it wasn't good. Oh my God, was it like skillets or something? Whatever it was, it like rusted very quickly. I was just like, oh, this is some trash. So I would never be buying anything else. That's just me. That was my experience for Martha Stewart. But anyway, when I tried to purchase it, I purchased it on like Macy's.com. And then literally, so you know how you get that email confirmation? So it's like, thank you for shopping. I got that. And then literally like 2 minutes later, I got a message from Macy's basically saying your whatever has been, shipped, because they thought, okay, how the hell is this lady in St. Lucia? She lives in Houston, Texas, but she buys it, and so I'm grateful for that, because what if someone would have been, had my information and bought $500 worth of, pots and pans from Martha Stewart, and it wasn't legit. So I think that's probably what happened. I think somebody was doing something. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the people that's closest to her, because usually those are the ones. Caesar, child, isn't that what they did? His friends, shanked him or whatever. It's very unfortunate. But I'm happy for Wendy that, I don't even know, because I want to say I'm happy for her, because I'm thinking, because she said, I don't know if it was in the documentary or not, but she was basically, maybe I saw a commercial saying something like she was broke. And I'm like, I just don't get it. How, I don't know what her radio career was like. I know she was like, probably like the number one, whatever. But I'm certain if you on a primetime TV show every day, 5 days a week, you're in people's living rooms, you probably have a handsome, paycheck every week or every month, however she gets paid. I'm just like, but what are you doing with your money? And then I remember back to the guy that I was telling her husband who was like, they had pictures of him and the girl, the baby mama or whatever, getting out of the car. And I feel like it was like a Bentley or a Rolls Royce, whatever it was expensive. And then he had on this big giant, like the biggest giant jacket that said Fendi. I was just like, oh my God, this is so, I want everybody to look at me. I also want to be robbed. Anyways, I like I said, from the outside looking in, I'm just like, oh, must be good. Because he also worked there. So he's, I'm sure, getting himself a handsome salary. So I couldn't understand when it's just like 3-4 years after and it's like, she broke how? Child, you can't, listen. If you've never watched this, there's a movie called I Care a Lot. I watched it about 2 or 3 years ago. It's very interesting. And the Britney case and Wendy case, very much like, it feels like what happened to the people in that movie. And it's sad. Also, Wendy's guardian is suing, I think she's suing, I don't know who, but she's suing someone. That's what is being reported. And then also, too, she's being sued by former clients and some attorneys. Oh, because they were saying, just kind of like in that movie, I Care a Lot, it's like there are vicious people out there and they'll go and put people under a guardianship that don't need to be, so that they can have full control. And the gag is, so kind of like with Britney, you put Britney under this guardianship because you think maybe she's not sound enough. Someone evaluated her and said they agree. So she's not sound enough to make her own decisions about certain things in her life. And I don't know if she is or isn't. But the gag is, so you put her under this guardianship and you pay her you pay yourself from her fortune. Hello? And then you pay all of her bills to the people who are diagnosing her, giving her pills. You pay them from her money too. I'm just saying, sometimes that is the situation. It has to be that way. Like I was telling you with the people that I worked with, they did sometimes have guardians that, would manage their money and things like that. But then I was there also as the program manager to make sure, this is the amount of money that's being spent. Like I was there to make sure I'm watching. Okay, just like the guardians over here watching everything I'm spending for this individual, it's gonna be full transparency around here. I don't play them type of games. I wouldn't want that type of karma. I would just never do something like that. But there are people out here that are very slippery and very convincing, and so I feel like she's probably been taken advantage of. But I will say this is just my personal opinion. This is nothing anyone's told me. But the first thing that came to my mind when they started saying that she was like declining, and that was like allegedly going on. I know this is bad, but I just thought to myself, I wonder, maybe because I've been watching too much true crime, but I thought to myself, I was like, I wonder if someone put something in her medicine, routine that could have impacted her in a negative way. But whatever the substance may have been, it looks like either A, it's not going to show up on a test, or B, if it does show up on a test, it has to show up within a certain amount of time, right? Or it gets flushed out of your system some way. So it's sort of like, if you send someone to go take a drug test and they did drugs that day, let's just say some big drug that, is highly addictive, the C or the one with the H, or, whichever one you want to think about in your mind. If someone just did it a day ago or 2 days ago, it's going to have a high level of, their numbers will be high, meaning the amount that's found in their system, it will be high. If you're in a drug rehab program, in a week or two, your levels should be dying down. Well, people think they're so smart. They're like, I'm not going to get a hair test. They shave their whole body. They come to court bald-headed. Okay, well, we just going to, sir, officer, take them in the restroom. We're going to just get the hairs from their area. They Queen Victoria. Just saying, people do all kinds of crazy stuff to try to make it seem like they're not doing drugs. But my point is, I just was wondering, because like I said, maybe I watch too much true crime, but I'm like, there are things out there, substances, that a lot of times you have to really, really be someone who really can look at a situation and know that this is off. Something is off. Because if it doesn't show up in their system on a test, they had a heart attack. That's all. This what it looked like though. She looked like she had a heart attack. When there are substances you can give people to make that happen. But anyways, so that's what I thought. But then I thought about it later because whenever Kelvin and the son was basically, I feel like I don't know who they were petitioning, but basically Kelvin, the son, had like, I feel like a $2 million apartment in Miami or somewhere like that, somewhere in Florida. And then here goes Kelvin, that he just bought a whole house for this. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to have to get moved. I'm going to get kicked out of my house. And I'm like, oh my God. The thing about life, the table is going to be in front of you one day. So you think you're getting over it, but you're not. Anyway, because I'm like, how y'all have all that money? You live in a high life. And didn't nobody just buy a house outright? Y'all didn't just say, well, let me go down to Texas or Austin, somewhere where homes are much cheaper than they are in New York or New Jersey. Let me go buy, a $300,000 house or $400,000 house or whatever it is. I'm sure you spent that much in a year. So I don't get it. Like, why would you do that? And then I would be so embarrassed to be like, my wife that I cheated on, now that she's not doing so well, we broke and I can't. So I say them tables be turning, honey. So I'm happy. Hopefully Wendy got some extra money and we'll get some residual funds from that. But I don't want to be on here forever. So let me just go ahead. We're going to talk about Andy Cohen. He was featured on Wendy Williams a few times. She had him on there to talk about the housewives. And so now Andy is being sued. I'm not laughing. Listen. Okay, let me gather myself. I really don't generally take glee in the downfall of others. I just don't. But with certain people, I'm just kind of like, I take exception. I feel like I can't really, with Andy, it's hard to tell because he seems like he would be a nice guy, but to me, he's a king cobra. The king cobras are the ones that you just don't see coming. They're almost like majestic and you just think that they're good. I don't think Andy's a good person. But I don't know this man, but I'm just saying from the things that I've seen him say and do over the years, I'm just like, you seem real sus. And then, people were dragging Nene Leakes for however many years. Oh, she's so ungrateful. And, she got too big for her britches. Listen, I love a Sag and Miss Nene Leakes is a Sag. So we would get along great, Anyways, she's like me. She was like, I'm top tier. Why would I not? Why would I not come over here and ask for exactly what I deserve? Do I think there were some ways she probably could have handled it differently with the networks? Probably. But I think, Nene, you can correct me if I'm wrong, sis, but I feel like Nene would give it back to Andy all the time. And he I feel like for the first few years kind of knew it. He was just kind of like, okay, I'm not going to really go there with her. Because he knew she's Atlanta. Okay? Period. I feel like she's really the face. The name of her name to me is synonymous with Bravo or Housewives, whatever you want to call it. So she was suing him, seemed like about 2 or 3 years now. And, a lot of people have come for her. She's been ungrateful and how dare you sue the man and da-da-da-da-da. But now we have more people coming out and suing this man. We have Leah McSweeney, I think is how you say her name. Which a lot of people don't like Leah. Leah's just a different human being. I don't like her or dislike her, personally. I probably wouldn't be friends with her in real life because I just think she's a little bit unpredictable. So you just never know with those type of people. And then Brandi Glanville. We know she's problematic. I loved Brandi, because I think she came on Beverly Hills like season 2 because she was an underdog. She wasn't the, person with the, big income. And I live in a $5 million home and, couldn't even really afford like a Range Rover. No shade, but I mean, Range Rovers are expensive. But to her, how are you a Real Housewife of Beverly Hills and you can't even afford that? But by the time she left, she was good, I guess. But I just feel bad for Brandi because I'm just like, girl, she just let that fame suck her whole. It's like she always wants to be back on top. So now, Leah McSweeney, and then we do know Wendy has been suing him for however long. I think. So now Leah's suing him, and then I feel like, I don't know, is the lady, what's her name? Carolyn don't know why I feel like I've heard that maybe she's suing Bravo. Maybe it's not just Andy. I'm not sure, but I think something's happening over there with her. So allegedly, okay? And I think too, the problem is with Leah and Brandi is that you just don't know if what they're saying is true about anyone. And the reason I say that isn't because it's not true, because I believe victims in general. I just do. You're gonna have to prove that the victim is lying. That's the part of the court that I'm in. It is what it is, and it's not gonna change. It ain't changing over here. That being said, with someone like Brandi, who I know, unfortunately, is thirsty. She's like hooked on the fame thing. But she could be as thirsty as she wants. That doesn't negate whatever she's claiming to be true in any way. It could be 100% true. The thing is, though, listen, SA and SH are difficult to prove without some sort of bruising, without some sort of pictures or someone admitting to something. Because that person could always say it was consensual. Anytime SA is happening, it's typically under the cover of darkness, and there's usually not many people there, but the perpetrator and the victim, typically. I don't know exactly why Brandi is suing him, but I do know that I heard somewhere that, like, Andy admitted something. He admitted to, like, making an inappropriate comment or something like that, allegedly, with Brandi. So he's already said that he's done something like that. Once you give credibility to that, it's going to give credibility and credence to the rest. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, y'all. So sleepy and tired, but, I got to bring you out of news. So I'm not going to say I believe Brandi or Leah, but I'm not going to say that they're lying because I don't know that. And then, too, let's just be clear. Typically, people do not sue you because they want to go to court. They don't. They don't care about going to court. They don't care, I'm going to say typically, about right and wrong or guilt. It's, I know this person has money. They've done something to me, and now I want to be made whole again. And the best way for me to do that is through money. And I'm mad at them. If that in fact is the case, I'm not. Then you'll have people. That's why you can't make false allegations, Giselle Bryant, allegedly. You can't make allegations like that about people. Because now, even though we know you're lying, Giselle, saying that the man did something, he didn't do anything to you. But I'm not even going to go down that road again. You felt away about being in a room with a man. It's not that he did something to you. So be clear. That being said, when you say something like that, or you make claims like, oh, this person did this, that, and the third, even if the person didn't do anything, it opens up the door for all of the other people who are going to, and I'm not saying everybody gonna be lying, because sometimes telling on a guy, so to speak, or reporting, that, especially someone very powerful, it makes the other people that they possibly have done something to, sometimes it gives them a little bit of strength to say, strength in numbers. And now I feel like I can come out and say, it gives credence to whatever they may have already said to their mom, their cousin, their friend, another employee, whatever it is. But usually it's harder to do that when it's just you against. Think about what happened with P. Diddy and Cassie and the baby mama and all these other people who now it's just like, child. But Cassie came out, and I'm certain she wasn't the first person, but she probably was the first one that was the most well-known. And it did feel like it came out of nowhere, because I never even heard anything about anything dealing with him like that. So I was like, whoa. And then when you start opening it, girl, it's just like, it's like one of those, what are they called? Are they Indian? No, those Russian cup thingies where it's just like a million of them in there. Yeah, that means problematic based on the stuff that people are saying online. But I just think that it's problematic that so many people are coming out and are suing Andy or suing someone associated with Andy Cohen. But it's been mentioned that I guess NBC, somebody has hired a PR person. That's what's being reported to kind of like take a hold. It's just like, go get Olivia Pope. We need her because this is laughable to me. So so then there's been this situation where, Andy's the boss. And then, like, I think NBC or Truly Original or someone at Bravo, they basically released a statement saying, Andy he doesn't basically make any rules. He can't hire and fire people. We do bring him in for his opinion with certain things, but he hasn't been doing that part of that part of his job in like years, allegedly. So you want us to believe that the man that does all the reunions, the face of Bravo, he's the man, even though it's all about housewives. That's just always crazy to me. How is this whole field full of people that are women, but the top is always a man? It's just so crazy to me. Anyways, he's just like I said in Nene Leaks, he's synonymous with the word Bravo. He just is. He's the face of Bravo. So I don't understand why these people would put out a statement basically saying that, he doesn't have the power to do this, that, and the third. He absolutely does. He has the power of influence. What are y'all talking about? To me, them saying that is kind of like saying, once a president is no longer the president of the United States, right? They've retired or whatever they got, they've done their job and they've moved on. For the remainder of that person's life, the president is going to be addressed as the president. It doesn't matter. They don't have no more power in that lane. He's still going to be revered. He's still going to be listened to. He's still going to have respect and whatever else. This man was always the president. He's never not going to be. They're always going to address him as that. So Andy, and I know it's a little bit of a different thing because he ain't the president, but it's the same thing. The people, I promise you, all the people that work for Bravo and all these different shows, they all look at him like that on some level. They at least start out that way. Because I feel like, listen, to me, Andy is a king cobra. And if you've watched any of my other videos, the other people that I'm saying, he's just a king cobra. He has all these audacities that I can't understand. Like, he says things to me that are so problematic. I don't know who watched Potomac, but I remember on Monique Samuel's last season, I think it was kind of understood that, she's probably not gonna come back or whatever. And so he was talking to Monique during the reunion, and he was just kind of like, oh, since your husband, he can't be making the same salary or the same type of money he was making when he was playing football. How the hell you gonna assume what my husband ain't doing? And listen, and I was here for it when Monique was like, no, he has a great what did she say, financial portfolio. He's made some great investments, blah blah blah. So yes, we're living at the same standards we were when he was playing football. I was like, yes, honey, don't do that. But Andy does that a lot. He does that, but he only does it to certain people. Because I can promise you this. We all know, if you've watched Beverly Hills, I'm sorry, not Beverly Hills, if you've watched the Real Housewives of New York, Sonia Morgan is one of the stars on that show. Probably one of the most likable people on there, in my opinion. I can guarantee you the opposite would have come out of Andy's mouth and been in his brain for someone like Sonia Morgan, Luann Countess Delasips, right? They bring these people on the show. There's no way Andy would have sat there and thought to himself or said out loud, well, Sonia, I'm sure you're not still living that life you were living when you were, married to Mr. Chase Morgan or whatever her ex-husband's name is. He would have never said that. Why? Because we got to assume that the white lady, if she was ever wealthy, she still has that going on. This black lady over here, no. That's the black man that played that game, football. No, he can't be smart enough to have invested his money well. I can promise you Andy would have never said that to Luann or Sonia. And I also can promise you that even because we've learned over the years that, according to Sonia and some of the things that's been said on the show, she doesn't have money like that. Oh, I got a $7 million judgment and this, that, and the third. She out here selling her townhouse or renting out or something. But I can guarantee you, Andy still probably in his mind thinks Sonia's rich. Just like Bethany. Bethany said that. She was just like, I came on the show and I'm thinking these people have all this money and they don't. But he wouldn't have said that. He wouldn't have even thought that about Sonia Morgan or about Luann Delasips or whomever else. He would have never gone to Jill Zarin, I think is her last name, and said, oh, God rest his soul in peace. No shade to this man, but he would have never said to her, oh, now that he's gone, her ex-husband passed away. I'm sure Jill isn't living at the same standards. That would have never come out of his mouth. It's the brown girls. Stop me when I'm lying about something. These are just the facts, and they're undisputed. They just are. He does all kinds of stuff like that, though, that I don't think other people really pick up on, but I see it all the microaggressions, I see it every single time. Or the double standards. Andy's he's the typical person, in my opinion, that works in a fancy store in the mall. Let's say Saks Fifth Avenue, since I like Saks. So if Andy sees, or all the people that work there, they see Dorit Kemsley, one of the white ladies on Beverly Hills, walk into the store, I can promise you. Well, let's start with me. Well, no, we'll start with Dorit. If Dorit walks into the Saks Fifth Avenue, which is a high-end clothing store or whatever, right? People will assume, even unconsciously, Dorit's married. She came from a 2-parent home. She's probably college educated. She might be a housewife. She could be, not. She could also have a job. But she definitely has a husband. Okay? She doesn't have a baby daddy. She has a husband. These is the things that are going to roll around in people's heads. She definitely deserves to be here, right? Why wouldn't she? She's Dorit. She's a white lady. I'm not saying everybody thinks that way, but I can promise you. Because I shop at some of those stores, and I know exactly what they think about people. Not all people, but some of them. I could walk in that same store with my Louis Vuitton or my Chanel handbag or whatever. Those people in that store, they're going to have a very different thought process of who they think I am. I'm probably divorced, if I even got married. I probably have 3 kids. I'm probably, maybe I have a college degree, but maybe it's just like a junior college. No shade to the people that went to a junior college, but you get what I'm saying. I probably had a baby daddy. He might have been in jail. He probably had a criminal history. I probably grew up in some sort of poverty. People act like they don't understand it, they don't see it, but I see it. And that's why I say Andy's a king cobra. He is. He just is. But he's a king cobra that it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. And I ain't mad at Andy. I get it. Andy's like, look, I stumbled into this gold mine of housewives because I think he was just kind of like I don't even think Andy was a producer on the show when it really was being developed. I think he was just like a regular person, like maybe a small producer or somebody just doing like busy work type stuff. But I could be wrong about that. And Andy, you are welcome to come on Chanel's Reality and correct me if I'm wrong. But I do think he stumbled into a really good job, and he's good at his job. There's lots of people that come on, that are on YouTube and like, he needs to be fired. Someone else needs to host and this, that, and the third. And I don't think that needs to happen. Because I can promise you, if it does happen, people are going to talk about that. We need Andy back. They don't know what to do. Andy knows these women, and he's good at his job. Not that his job is difficult, but he's good at it. He gets to fly around the world, and, I don't even know what Andy would actually do. But whatever he's doing, I'm sure it isn't difficult. But one of the things that I heard years and years ago from this lady, Kathy Griffin, I think she worked for Bravo or worked for Andy for a while. And years ago, she said, I don't know what I was watching. I feel like maybe it was on The View. I don't know exactly. But she basically was like, Andy Cohen, she said this happened twice, actually. She said that, I'm going to just let y'all hear it.
On that show, let me clear that up. I've actually done Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen twice in the, I think, 10 years it's been on. And I've never said this before, obviously, but both times I did the show, right before we went live, Andy Cohen privately asked me in an office in Embassy Row, which is the production company that does that shit show, if I wanted to do blow. All right, I've never had a drink in my life. You guys know I'm no prude, but I'm like kind of a straight edge. I thought he was kidding the first time. Just so you know, Jimmy Kimmel or Seth Meyers has never asked me to do blow before going on their show. No one from The View has ever asked me to do blow before a show. So I was hoping he was kidding. So the second time I do the show, same thing. So once again, we're alone in an office in Embassy Row, and he's like, you want to do some coke? And I'm thinking, he's serious. So I know trust me, he's going to say he was kidding and everything. No, he was asking me to do cocaine with him. That made me very comfortable.
Wow.
It was the
Listen, I often joke over here on Chanel's Reality. You'll hear me say things like Criminals by Bravo. Because that's what it's becoming. Remember, Andy was like, we're not like the Love and Hip Hop, or I'm paraphrasing, but basically like those people over there. We have standards. Meanwhile, Teresa then flipped the table, pulled some hair. I don't know if Teresa pulled the hair. Maybe it was Danielle. I think Danielle pulled some hair. She and her husband both went to jail, prison. Jen Sheldon went to prison. Who hasn't been in prison? There's a few of them. Like I said, it's just at this point, it's like Criminals by Bravo. It's interesting. And it's sad too, because it's like, to me, Andy's kind of like Caesar, and he doesn't realize that his employees have turned on him. They have flipped the switch on him. Let's see. What else did I want to say? Oh, yeah. I was thinking about this earlier, too. It's just some of the things that Andy has done that's just kind of like, he's just so shady. Like a few years ago, and I don't like Erica Jane for a lot of reasons, but she's good TV. But I remember a few years ago, whenever all her life got turned upside down, and they were at that reunion, and, you know, she was basically saying something like, you know, my life is over or been ruined or whatever. And Andy was just kind of like, I mean, I know what you get paid. It ain't bad. And then I think he said she makes like $500,000 or a little over $500,000 a season. And it's like, well, damn, Andy, thank you. Can you put your employee, how much you make? Why would you do that? It's none of your business, Andy, to put my, but again, King Cobra. I'm glad he held her accountable. But I mean, I just feel like that's very private. If she wants to share it, absolutely. But you, as the boss, shouldn't be sharing it. And then do y'all remember Potomac? That year where Giselle, I don't know what they were talking about, but the end of the conversation, because they had gone to like a break or whatever, but when they were there, Andy was saying something about he never had sex with a woman, something to that effect. And he says, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said something to the effect of like, I think I might want to try it out. And then this I thought was so inappropriate. Giselle says, again, I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly what she says, but she says something to the effect, well, if, you know, you haven't gotten it by, I don't know, by the time you're 50 or 60 or however old he is, then, you know, I'll do it with you or something like that. And it's just so inappropriate. It's highly inappropriate. You should never be having that conversation with your boss. And your boss certainly should be having that conversation with you. But I do think Andy, see, this is the part of Andy that is, he ain't completely asleep. He said, well, no, you know, because I'm your boss. Or he said something like, that would be a problem with HR. I think the problem with Andy, aside from whatever Kathy Griffin is saying about him, it's, oh my goodness. I hate when people make false allegations about somebody else, because you can't, it's hard sometimes to shake that. And especially something like that shameful, like drug use, that a lot of people, you know, they look at people who do drugs or whatever in a way. Like something must be wrong with them. They're not smart enough. They're not this, that, and the third. And let's just be clear. People are addicted to all kinds of things. Coffee is the number one drug in this country anyway. Just saying. But a lot of times society and people tend to like look down on you because you've done this or that or whatever the case may be. But listen, it's the people at the top that be having all the access. Have y'all ever seen the CEO that somebody sent them and said, hey, go take a drug test before you can get hired on as a CEO? It's never going to happen. But the line cook at the hospital need to go get a test. This is like, are you serious? Anyways, yeah, those people don't get tests. And trust me, Hollywood is full of things that aren't so savory and above board and sinister. So I can't say that this Kathy Griffin lady is lying, but I can't say she's telling the truth either, because I wasn't there. And it just, I've met a lot of druggish people, or people that are addicted to drugs or substances in my lifetime. Because like I said, I've worked in, you know, psych hospitals and for the states and stuff like that, where I had to drug test people. I wasn't the person doing the drugs, but I mean, doing the test, but I would send people to get drug tested. And that's when I realized, that was early 20s, but I realized, I was like, America has a coke problem, because I was like, how all these people that? Anyway. Um, Anything else I wanted to say about Andy? Andy, listen, I wanna hope that it isn't true and that people aren't just doing a pile on. But I've never heard this Kathy Griffin lady. She hasn't changed her story, because that's the same story she told however many years ago when I heard it the first time. The only thing that makes me wonder is because sometimes people can be bitter. Because she said he was her boss when she was on the Bravo show, My Life on a D List or whatever. And by the way, that Kathy Griffin lady, she is not broke. Be clear. I thought she was, because she calls herself her life on the D list. She's not at all. I get the feeling that their relationship soured somewhere along the lines, because I feel like they probably had a friendship or a good working relationship. But the thing that I can't wrap my brain around, not that drugs isn't rampant a lot of places, especially Hollywood or the entertainment business. I get it. It's savage. The entertainment business is savage. It just is what it is. I'm just like, if you offered this to this lady, allegedly, previously, why are you doing it again if she already said no? The person we need Bethany to come to the front, because I can promise you Bethany knows, because she clocked that Dorinda Medley's boyfriend that year. She was just like, you want to go do something? I was like, whoa, because I never thought in a million years that Dorinda would do anything like that. And still to this day, I will go and Google Dorinda, whatever her last name is, and then drugs, and nothing ever comes up except for that one little clip. But nobody else, I can never find anything on her. And I'm like, but then Sonia Morgan sat there and she was just kind of like, what did Dorinda say to Bethany? She's just like, why are you trying to insinuate that I do drugs, that you know that I do drugs? And then Sonia apparently couldn't take it anymore. Sonia's like, because you do. Everyone knows you do drugs. I was like, oh my God. She didn't file no lawsuit against them, so I don't know. I mean, you're not going to come on a national TV show and say that I do that. We cutting that all the way out. Let's be very clear. Are you going to pay me? Bravo. Or Sonya going to pay me? I'm about to get paid, because we're not slandering my name like that or my reputation. But the fact that Bethany said it the way she did and no one like rebutted her was like, oh. And then when Sonya basically confirmed it, and then Luann at the end was just kind of like, let's just let it go. Just let's just not talk about it. That made me feel like there is credence to what Bethany said. But that being said, Dorinda just doesn't seem like a person that would do that. Like, she goes on the martini train or the vodka train, whatever. That's cool. But like, I just don't see her snorting. Like, I don't see it, but hopefully that's inaccurate. And again, let me say again, everything that I say on here is alleged. And it's for entertainment purposes only. It's in my opinion. But anyway, guys, that's it. I just wanted to come on here and, give you guys a little bit of an update on some of the things I reported about these people previously. But I think, what is it? Oh my goodness, it's almost 1 o'clock. I don't know. I wake up at night. It's almost like my days and the nights are upside down. But yeah, guys, thank you so much again for watching Chanel's Reality. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for liking my videos. I had one of my new subscribers. She went on there and she's just like, I liked it and I subscribed it and I shared it. I was like, yay! It just made my heart smile. I was like, yay! And then there was another lady on there. She was just kind of like, you don't need to be doing this because you're boring. Hopefully she doesn't think that she would ever make me feel bad about myself because she went on there and wrote something. I don't really care, lady. Whoever you are, I don't. I'm top tier. So I don't care. So my response was just kind of like, oh my God, you're so sweet. Thank you so much for coming onto my platform and watching my videos. And thank you for commenting. I really love it when I get people that come on my platform. And I know that they're such good people. They're so, you could just tell that they grew up in a loving home and their parents were respectful and they taught them how to be, respectful of others and not speak poorly of people you don't even know. Oh, because I don't have time. I'm not matching so you woke up to come over here so you could tell me I'm boring? Girl. Okay, that's fine. But here's the thing. I'm not for everybody, and that's okay. I'm for me. My friends like me. My husband likes me. My family likes me. And we clearly know I like me. So. But that's okay. Everybody's not going to like me. Just like everybody ain't going to like you. And that's okay. We need different people in the world. So, be who you are. And I'm always going to root for people to be who they are. Right? Because I want to be who I am. And I'm fabulous, honey. Get into it. Anyways, guys, chimed out in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about Andy Cohen and his alleged situation with Mrs. Griffin and him being part of the cocaine tribe. Girl, what do you guys think about what's going on with who's my other two people? They need to leave Kelly Rowland alone, don't they? Yeah. So y'all let me know what y'all think about the Today Show that's acting like, oh no, we're gonna fix up our rooms now. It's just like, girl, shut up. Nobody hear that. And I actually like the Holder lady. She's just like a really normal person, but I'm just like, y'all doing the most. Kelly was classy. Y'all doing the absolute most. Who else did I talk about? Oh, and Wendy Williams. Tell me what you guys think about Wendy. Were y'all fans of the show? Do you think it's true what's being said about, Wendy and her ailments and stuff? I think it's sad. But chime down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. And then like the video. Please share the video. And I will see you next time on Chanel's Reality. Bye, guys. Thank you.